It went from an online system to a submit system, but submit a PDF.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like,
Organized very quick. Hold on.
okay.
I mean, all this stuff has gotten harder.
Sometimes it's not worth getting money.
Lori told me that.
And sometimes it
And
is.
she basically, I do not disagree with her as I go forward. And Karen says, thank you, Mark.
I learned that lesson the hard way. We took on all this work, but we didn't increase operations and then, we're scrambling.
Free's not free.
Yeah.
Okay, first item on our agenda this evening is the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes, adjustments to the agenda? I have a couple. Which is going to be number 5, the code's annual report. He is, Mike Jones is sick, so he will not be here, so we will move that to the next agenda.
What is it?
Number
The
5,
code's
the
report.
code's report will be on the next agenda.
No, okay, when do that.
Okay. I have a 6A for an asset inventory. I have 6B for Parks Committee. I have,
6B?
yeah, I'm just doing them all under 6 rather than adding lots of numbers to it. So 6A is asset inventory.
Okay.
6B is Parks request. 6C is tree commission appointment. I think that is all that I have to add.
Well, I have 8 things under that one. So I thought we were just gonna be talking about the emails that we've been sharing.
Well, the code's annual or the.
No, under village accounting.
That's all part of what we're gonna be talking about for most of the emails that we've talked about.
Okay.
So,
Just noting that I won't list them all, but yeah, are a number of things I want to discuss.
right, then I have some comments about that and some things written down about it so that we can talk about it and tell you where we're at with things, because you had some questions where we were at with things in your emails. So. Okay, so our meeting minutes of,
We're going to executive session at the end of this meeting too.
oh yeah, we are gonna have a short executive session at the end of the meeting, and there will be no action taken afterward.
In the topic?
Advice of counsel and a contractual, I would say.
Yes.
Meeting minutes. I had one submission for some edits.
Okay,
I don't know if anybody else had any edits or questions.
okay, a motion to accept the minutes is edited.
So moved.
The second.
Second by Mark, all in favor?
Uh,
Abstract number 14.
To accept the abstract? Oh, you get, yeah.
Gonna tell the-
I'm gonna tell you the amount. It is a large amount because this is the annual invoice payment for the New York State retirement. So the a total amount of abstract 14 is $737,572.52.
So
About 530 of it is both the ERS and firefighters retirement system.
so
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fire department.
Paul's got a part-time,
part-time hire.
no, and I can't say his name. Here, no. Hillary stuff,
Oh, use a Tinsky.
uses him ski.
He's back in the air.
He was,
He didn't leave.
he
Oh,
was with us for a while. All us to hire him part-time.
Yep, he wants to go back as a part-time paramedic, potentially full-time paramedic in March.
So
Second.
he was with us before.
Yes, he's a volunteer for a number of years and then he went to college out in Delmar / something in a dorm program, got his paramedic, came back, he's working at Nova, and now he's moving back here into the house where his parents are or lived or not living there. Anyways, moving back to Fayetteville and he thought about coming back here, so was nice to catch up with him today.
So move at the,
Part-time
Part-time
rate,
rate of paramedic, 24.
24.
24.
Okay, and a motion to hire a part-time, Noah.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
we have, intermunicipal agreement, that we did last year. Paul, you wanna just,
Yep, we did, last year we did the codes agreement with the town for us to do the safety inspections. It's $1,000 a month. We bill them, they pay us. The first 6 months that went really well. It's great getting in the buildings. It's nice staying up to date with the problems and seems to be going very well. We have a list already set for next year. So I'm all in favor of doing the agreement again.
so move for the same, 1,000 a month.
I think the thing that changed on here is they're gonna pay us every other month instead of every month, which isn't appeared to be a problem.
Better than we're doing it now.
We're working on that.
You're in the headlights.
Is that? was
So that is
project-
part of number 7 on the agenda, but
Yeah.
Okay,
if that, I'm not sure, I didn't mean to cut you off. So I wasn't sure if that was your question.
I figured out that that's what it was.
Okay.
I knew it had been here. Somebody was trying to tell me it had been here.
Do we have a lot of staff who are qualified to be the village marshals
Village marshals.
in here?
So we have codes compliant officers and building safety inspectors.
So a number of them.
Yes, so as long as they stay recurrent, they all fall into that category. So for us, it's a nice supplement to what we do for overtime. So I try to get it done on shift if possible. We'll do the medical center and we'll do town center. I'll bring 2 guys in, they'll do it for half a day and they'll knock it all out in a half a day each. So that's the only general overtime that will occur through the whole process.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I think you actually have the copy there to sign if you want to sign it.
You guys think?
Yep.
That's later on, yeah.
Want me to sign back here too?
I have
Or you
that
have
one.
to sign that one? Okay,
Yeah, I'll take it.
good. I won't lose it. Take it.
Just a reminder about the banquet, March 7th. I think I've heard from one person so far, so if anybody else is going, please RSVP. Mayor, we need a mayor's award.
I'm planning on going, so I didn't.
Perfect.
RSVP. I did not RSVP.
You did not, you're right, thank you. And
Me?
you're going, yes,
Yeah.
perfect. I got you, and I'm sure you're going. Aggressively, yes. Okay,
It
perfect.
was behind the mask.
Yeah, So I'll put you down. The next thing I have is the Safer grant that we were awarded for 1.3 million. I'm getting ready to hire the 4 positions. They can't start till March 1st, but I have to canvass, interview, get them in here maybe a week early before they go off to the academy March 9th to Utica. I need permission to canvass and permission to maybe have an agreement with the mayor to hire these people if I can't if it's in between the meetings and whatnot, it's gonna be time sensitive at that point. I've been waiting for Melius and DeWitt have canvassed, hired, and I've been waiting for an accurate list so that we don't get in with the civil service. Trying to make sure that I play in the sandbox and do it the right way. So I am open to taking laterals as well. I've had a number of them. I'm only taking a lateral if it's gonna fit the culture of the organization we're trying to continue with. So I'm not just taking a body to take a body. We're in the right spot next door with culture and building a new team, and so I want to make sure that we're making the right hires for the long term. And I just don't want to take a body to fill it. So
So you need a motion?
um
to-
So I would say we need a motion for the chief to canvass and to have the mayor approve a hire if it comes between board meetings.
Correct.
And you will be notified by email if it is between board meetings who we're hiring. Just like we have other things, but just to not miss out on the opportunity of what he needs to have done.
And this may fall between the first and second board meeting in February. That's what I'm worried about, so I wanna make sure that giving you a notice ahead of time, I may get a lateral in between for the next meeting, but we'll see. I got a couple of meetings scheduled for with people, so.
So does that count?
Did
as
you
your
motion? Did you?
That's
motion
not,
that?
I can, but you can move it if you want.
Yeah,
Somebody else
okay.
can
No,
second.
I just want to make sure we do
I'll second.
it. Okay,
Wanna Move it?
good. I move it.
Okay.
I wanna stay on the sideline, let them fight it out.
You're fine, I just,
No, it's just.
I was
like,
just
yeah,
saying
this
the
is a good
words, it
idea.
doesn't matter
Right.
who does what.
You moved it, Dan seconded.
Yeah,
Well,
all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
So I've already planned out the funds and where that 148,000 will come from. We'll talk about that obviously more in the budget process, but
Okay.
we should be able to absorb it and stuff.
Now, what are they gonna do? Give us stipend, monthly or,
That's what we gotta figure out, how we're gonna bill them. So. How I'm
they're
gonna,
not
what,
automatically gonna do it. We have to probably.
yeah, I have to
You
submit it.
invoice.
I just gotta figure out what their reporting requirements are. I really haven't done much with it because I couldn't do it until March, so. I wasn't really worried about it until I was gonna, first week in February, figure it out, but. It's not gonna be that hard because we've been doing it before, but I just wanna make sure I do it the right way with the right reporting. Making sure I can get the right information from Karen so that it's easy to fill out and submit.
so you think they're pretty good about paying when we send a bill into them?
3 to 5 days. That's what they have.
That's what I get nervous about.
No, FEMA's better than New York State, so,
Yeah. Better than a lot of them.
yeah. Yeah, generally 3 to 5 days.
I won't mention any other.
And I generally,
municipalities.
I used to give Lori. I printed off and copy of what I submitted, so she knew what to expect coming in, so. I will do the same. That's all.
Okay,
Have your motions? You have your motions, there was no vote on that yet?
now we voted that,
Yeah.
yes.
I didn't think we did, did we?
I do.
Yes,
So,
we did.
you did.
You were
I fell
really
asleep
on-
during your
You were
long
really
duration.
on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm way on the sideline here tonight. That's all right.
Okay. So DPW, obviously, we just had a storm experience and they did a good job again with our roads and with our sidewalks and with clearing things, along with the fire department, taking care of things during that time. So thank you to them for that. Tyler has asked to purchase some more salt. And he sent me a text just before the meeting. He couldn't be here tonight, obviously, because of the last few days. But he sent a text, and the reason that he would like to purchase more salt is because the trucking companies are cutting back on delivery days, and also because of the storm events that we've had this winter, he doesn't want to run short, and so rather to be a little more proactive than reactive to waiting too long. So he has a proposal here to buy 200 more ton of salt at $60.97 a ton on the county contract.
So move.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And then also DPW related, I have a letter from Patrick Wood, to whom it may concern. I wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to work with the Village of Fayetteville Department of Public Works. It's been an amazing time and I've grown many strong connections and friendships with my peers. However, my schooling has become too much to coincide with full-time maintenance. I regret to inform you of my 2-week resignation, effective starting date of 1/16/26. I hope to remain in good standing as to not affect my eligibility to be rehired. Signed by Patrick Wood. So a motion to accept his resignation and his 2 weeks started on the 16th. He may
16th, right.
leave before the 2 weeks, but he's given us his 2 weeks notice as of the 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
You want that, Karen? or do you-
Yes, please.
Did we say mechanic?
He's not a mechanic, he's
No.
just a worker.
We don't count.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, okay.
We do not have a mechanic.
I know. I was like, what?
Okay.
There wasn't anything else for DPW, right?
Not that I was told.
Okay. As far as clerk,
As clerk.
I was just going to make note that I signed up for Introduction to Governmental Accounting class, the beginning of March. Which is at through the comptroller's office. That's at a cost of $85, if that's agreeable.
So, second,
Second.
thanks for doing it.
It's,
Among all-
That's the
all these
2-day
you're doing.
It's a 2-day one, March
It's rough.
3rd and March 4th and 5th.
there's a certain point at which, when I was taking it, at least, it was like, all right, well, I know that's what you're doing behind the scenes. Yeah. 'cause
Yeah,
it's-
I'm embracing
Full
myself.
days
It's
of
gonna
it.
be a long day in front of the computers.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I just wanted to confirm that with you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I think we've voted on that.
Thank you. Thank you for drawing my attention to it.
I think that was. So number 6, under village accounting, if you have one for me, please, thank you. Some things have been brought up and asked to be placed on the agenda by trustee Casey. And I wanted to kind of go through some of those things that were brought up to us, and this is a result of interest and promotion of trying to follow our village finances a little more closely by not only trustee Casey, but myself and the remaining board members. So one thing was brought up was in regards to with the retirement of Clerk Corset and Clerk Shepherdson taking over, we voted to hire a company, a CPA firm of Pompo, to balance our books each month and to take over our payroll services and to file our annual report with the comptroller's office. So when Clerk Corset retired, we talked as a board, had a discussion about whether we would have an independent audit done of our books here at the village. In the conversations that were subsequently held with myself and James Pompo in regards to that type of an audit, he told me that it was his suggestion not to do that. I talked to him today, and he continues to believe that that is not a good expense or use of village funds to have that audit done. It's a $20,000 to $30,000 cost. His opinion at the time, and it still is his opinion, that a new set of eyes reconciling our books and hiring out a CPA firm to actually look at our books and balance them each month is another oversight that is in place for the village residents and for the board to look at what's going on with our funds and with our books. So you hear of this in different organizations where they have a board member perhaps that's the treasurer and things happen, or in some of the different governmental offices where different people can have access to working on the books. We have in place another person now looking at that. So we still enter in this office, in the village clerk's office, our billing, our repayments, our receivables, our payments, our expenditures. And at the end of each month, this company is taking care of reviewing all of those and balancing out our books. So that's another set of eyes and oversight. We hired Pompo Company as of the 1st of January. So they came in and worked 1 month with Lori on balancing the books and seeing how certain things were done. And they have taken over officially as of the 1st of January of 2026. And so in that process, we have not even been with them 1 complete month yet for them to be looking at our book work. So they did balance our books as of December 31st, a month that they started in January here to look at. And that is an ongoing learning curve for both our trustee or our clerk Shepherdson and with the Pompo to get used to each other and the nuances of what's going on here as far as the bookwork is concerned. It has also been a little bit of a challenge in the regards that we utilize, what's the name of the bookkeeping company that we use? Williamson software for our bookkeeping, and having the CPA Pompo company have remote access into our books. So they can only come here to work on our books and to do certain things with our records, with our reporting, with our things that way. So that's leading up to some of the other things that we're going to talk about. The proposal that Pomco submitted to us and that I have signed, and that has an addendum at the back of it that I signed that says that we are subject to, we have the rights to terminate this agreement at any time for its convenience without cause or upon written notice to that company. Even though it's a proposal and doesn't say the word contract on it, I have checked with our village attorney and he said that that is sufficiently a contract with this company to provide the bookkeeping that we have asked them to provide for us and that we are paying. So we voted and we are paying them $5,000 a month. And for their services, it is to balance our books monthly, file our annual report that's necessary with the comptroller's office at the conclusion of our fiscal year, and provide payroll services to the village. Each of you received a budget status report as of December 31st. And the following reports: a balance sheet, a treasurer's report revenue summary, and a treasurer's report expenditure, although he wasn't sure if that was the exact names that are under Williamson software, but those reports will be available in the near future. Karen and I have a meeting set up with Mr. Pompo on Wednesday, and some more of this can be clarified as to where those reports are, when they should be printed, and how they can be distributed to the board and myself to review and have further access to that, so that we have more oversight as to what we are looking at. Obviously, we have our abstract at every meeting. All of our vouchers have an account number listed on them as to where the money is coming from. Everyone here has access to those vouchers and to look at them. We do have an audit committee in place which reviews to make sure that those vouchers are all authenticated and ready to be paid by this board before they come to us as the abstract that we just approved, such as tonight. I asked him in regards to a cash flow statement, and he said that this report does not apply for the village of Fayetteville. That would be something similar in comparison to a for-profit company that sells stuff and does stuff, and some villages or municipalities may, but Fayetteville does not. So that report will not be in existence. An example of that is Minoa has their own sewer treatment plant,
Right.
and they charge their residents for that,
Water and
and they
sewage.
also have their water
Yeah.
system. They take in funds like a survey, like a for a sale type of thing. That's where that report would be generated from. So Fayetteville would not have a report of a cash flow statement. So these reports, after our meeting on Wednesday, I'm not going to tell you that they're going to be available on Thursday, but they will be available soon after Karen and I meet with him on Wednesday. And those reports will be given to the trustees and myself, and they will be available monthly to you. I'm asking that anyone that receives the reports on the board, if you look them over and you have questions, if you would submit them in writing to the village clerk, who will be working with the accountants and can answer questions and or get the information that you are not seeing within those reports. As far as the monthly, where we're at in our budget compared to where we spent money, this shows all of our accounts. The detail of revenues and the summary of expenditures shows more specifically. The revenues aren't going to change all that much, obviously, because like little things will come in. Tax time obviously is the biggest time that we would have revenues coming in. Other times there's different items of revenue that do come to the village. So that will change slightly over time. But the summary of expenditures each month will break down the items that are how much has been expended per I'll say area. So as an example, under general government support, you have village board expenses, village justices, mayor. You'll get a copy of all this, so I'm going through it fast, but you will see where this has a list of the different government services, including municipal building, fire station, public works, and it also shows the remaining part of the balance, which coincides with this report that has the remaining part of the balance here. So when I have a little more information, on this Wednesday, then we will provide these reports to everyone. And going forward, they will be available to you. I think that answers some of your questions, but possibly not all of them.
I would like to attend the meeting on Wednesday.
I will see about setting up a second meeting.
Why a second meeting? I have
Because Karen and I
questions.
have some specific questions to ask of him first.
I also have specific questions.
I
to ask.
understand that, and I will set up a meeting with you to meet with him.
This process is disappointing. I put everything in writing prior to this meeting and received no response on the specifics for the most part, except for the personnel status report that I requested. So for information to be presented tonight at the table without me having access to it beforehand, when I have requested numerous times to have access to information prior to a meeting, especially in relation to something that I have written, is quite disappointing. I have questions about this, and I see that it's not a good idea for me to go over all the questions I asked, but I'll have a couple. Why do you refuse to provide us these reports electronically?
Because you want everything printed off. You've
Well-
asked for that on numerous occasions.
I will take them both ways. Mostly I have been printing at home, but I would like an electronic report for my files versus me having to come up with a separate filing system at home. And I would also like the reports be available to the public. Why don't you want to do that?
And I'm not prepared to explain them, and that's why I would like an opportunity to meet with Pompo.
When I spoke with NICOM and asked about some of these questions that you asked, my concern is that if someone in the general public looks at our reports that is not an accountant and is not familiar with the budget of the village of Fayetteville or how government budgets work, they will misunderstand that. So I was told that I could place them on, if we have something on the agenda that we're going to talk about, that I can place those reports on there. But I should also place them on there with a disclaimer that it is not perhaps what it appears to be. It's so many words because things are different than what people might expect to see or assume that they are seeing. It's very similar to our budget workshops when last year we had the discussion about whether they would be live streamed, and this board voted against live streaming them. Because in a budget workshop, things are said, things are done, people can misunderstand them and misconstrue them, and they could walk away from here, from our website, with a lot of misinformation instead of good information.
So that was a very thorough answer. So there's a couple of things. I don't think that it's up to us to decide whether the public can understand our reports. I don't think that our budget workshops should not be televised. Why we live stream every other meeting and not the budget workshop is still a concern for me. The villagers expect transparency and accountability. And I'll read this quote from New York State Office of the Comptroller in their report, Transparency and Accountability of Fiscal Activities in Villages. Ultimately, transparency serves as a cornerstone of good governance, promoting accountability, reducing opportunities for financial management, and ensuring that public funds are used effectively. It is not up to us whether no one may ever look at those, but I believe in the spirit, I believe in the principle of transparency, and I want that for the villagers. And for myself, I want to be able to access these reports separate from the minutes of our meetings, which they're not even attached to. I looked at the Village Handbook of NICOM, the New York Council on Mayors and Municipal Officials. There's a major section on how to do a budget, but there are no sections on fiscal management. I have taken numerous trainings with the New York State Office of the comptroller. And my pile of training documents is about this high. I take them not only in the forms of forms of actual trainings, but in webinars, and I produce guides for myself because I did not start this job knowing the specifics of accounting. I wish I had followed the chair of my department's perspective that we all needed accounting, but I did not at that time. I am not an accountant, but I have been working hard to understand this. I have been asking for certain things for a long time, including that these be sent to us the budget status report and I'm blanking because I don't have that in front of me right now. I'm sorry. The
Balance sheet, you read that one of them.
the budget status report, the balance sheet. Monthly receipts and cash balances, maybe we're all talking a different language. And then the cash flow statement is not something for profits. It is clearly in the documents that I have recommended you all read, and this document is a training that I have taken twice. Fiscal responsibilities of the governing board. I took it twice because there's two moments in time. I know more now, 20 months after I was elected, than I did the first time I took it. I am concerned that we are not doing everything we can. And in terms of the goals for this year, this is my number one goal, that our fiscal management will be stellar. And I will continue on that goal if I have to until I'm done with my term in December of 2028. I have held on to these feelings and I have tried multiple times in multiple ways to get this information. And the fact that it does not get delivered to me is of great concern. I have been asking that these reports be monthly for a very long period of time. And I've been asking that we have an asset inventory since April 2024. I will not go into what happened and what information I was provided or not provided at the time, but I am very concerned that we are not tracking our assets at least as long as I have been on this board. And I believe for many years before that. When I asked you about the asset inventory, you said, well, how far back do you want to go? And I'm like, why is that the question? You're preparing an inventory. I have told you that there are documents
You were gonna
From the
share
New
a
York
document
State-
with me, but you didn't.
from the New York State Office of the Comptroller. Here's an inventory sheet. I would suggest that you also talk to them about how to conduct the inventories and that
And I
our
was
inventory excuse me,
Okay, go ahead.
and that our inventory meet the qualifications of the New York State Office of the State Comptroller, not anything that NICOM may say. I am very concerned that I'm given reports, now you're saying that there's reports that I asked for to be given for this evening, but you didn't provide them. I hear when we talk about Pompo that they have a packet of information. I want the whole packet every month before the meetings. And if there's a question about when these things should happen, I will go back to another suggestion I made in May of 2024, that we consider developing meeting protocols as discussed and as outlined in the NICOM handbook for village officials. Because there are, I think, different understandings of what our timing should be. And that's very important for us in terms of how we run these meetings, because there is not a consistency in our procedures that I believe needs to be. And one of those is that we talk about things and we say we're going to follow up on them, and then we do not. So we need an agenda that includes follow-up. And let me see. I was never told that an independent audit, no, I'm sorry, that an audit from Pompo was going to take $20,000 to $30,000. The way this is written, it suggests I had, but I had not. When I asked for the personnel status report, we have confusion between us. And I am going directly by what I have received in the documents from OSC, that this report should include, and it's not confusing to me, the number of personnel authorized that is in our budget and who are employed at a specific point in time, and that should include the department, the number of authorized positions, and the number currently employed, plus open positions. I am concerned that we do not make budget modifications, that we make decisions that have budgetary implications. And that is something that we need to start doing on a regular basis. Every time we make a decision, such as hiring Compo, we should have made a budget modification. I could provide lots of examples of that. And when we get all the reports we need, we'll be able to understand why that's important. So I think, let me just check. I have also, at times in these meetings and in my emails, recommended that other board members take OSC trainings. There's an option that we could possibly pursue in terms of having us as a group come to an agreement on things by having a group training for us. I am disappointed in my own performance in terms of not pushing this sooner. And I cannot continue to do that in accordance with my own principles, my family's principles, my professional principles, and what I am legally required to do. So I ask that my fellow board members look at these documents and look at the Village of Manlius audit and look at what they were dinged for in that audit, because some of the same things that they were dinged for in that audit, we do not do. We are great at getting our annual financial report. All our reports with the state comptroller are in order. Any villager and any other person who's interested can view those on the state comptroller's website under open book. I think that's it for now.
Could I go back to this sheet that I've done?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the year, report, which is done after, well, we close the books in May, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's gonna be done by, this company. So that will encompass both, the time when Lori was the clerk and Karen was the clerk.
Correct.
Okay, so the fiscal report was done last year by this company.
No,
Oh, different one?
Lori was here last year.
Yeah,
Lori.
She did it herself?
No, Bonadito group we hired to do it.
Oh, Benedict.
Bonadito.
Okay, all right, so this is, so that report, Benedito's, was done with the help of Lori, right?
Yes.
And then this year, this report will be done with your help.
Somewhat.
Okay,
Now,
Well,
the
I
difference
mean-
is the accountant will have the information to complete the report directly.
right, it'll be two different clerks to report really. Cause you're technically the clerk, you're in charge of the money.
The end of the year covers the tenure of two different clerks.
Right, okay,
Yes,
so that's,
but it's the
so that's.
financial report for that fiscal year.
So that's what you're saying, that's what they're saying, that because they're now involved in doing the books, there isn't a need for an audit. I was one of the ones pushing for an audit. But I understand.
His strong recommendation is, and
Yeah,
he
I-
told me today that an audit would cost between $20,000 and $30,000 to do.
Right,
And he did not feel that that was a necessary thing that the village take on.
with regard to these reports. The one we got here that is end of the year, December. We used to get these every month. And there was never any discussion on them.
Right.
So
Did
I
you
think
have
that's why
questions?
we stopped getting them.
Did you have questions about him?
No,
When you
did
got
I?
them? Yeah,
I went through them.
right.
As a matter of fact, at the last budget meeting, I went through them very extensively, because we did have one for the month prior to that, or 2 months prior.
Right.
And I did, and I went it over with Lori, who, went through it with me and this and that. So, I mean, if the question is, we should be doing this, Guess all you do is have the company that comes in, that lady that came in the other day, she was working hard, she sent this report, right?
Well, Karen
It's
printed that.
accessible through the software. It's just a matter of me being sure that I'm.
Yeah.
Compiling. the
That report I
accurately.
know is accurate and up to date.
But
The
you-
other reports, I want to be able to meet with the accountant and make sure that they are appropriately up to date and what they should be before they're put out to.
What was that lady doing?
She was balancing the end of the month.
Okay,
The
So-
focus was on a particular task.
okay, so
So
that,
now that they have familiarity with it, I've also been able to finally secure access to the software as of today.
Right.
And now I will be meeting with them this week, so I can have an understanding of what program does, what I need to do to get the materials and the reports, the information to everybody on a monthly basis.
right,
So that you can evaluate, it, especially in preparation for a budget. I have to, I'm trying to have them help me understand what we need to prepare budget worksheets and such. So that we can begin that process.
okay, she's gonna come in every month.
She's not gonna come in, they'll be able to do it remotely. She doesn't necessarily have to be here, but she and I
You've
will
been-
be in communication, whether it's by phone, by email, and if needed in person.
Okay, how about Ted, is Ted involved in that at all?
No.
Okay.
Can you
Wanted to be.
explain to me again why I cannot at least observe the meeting between you, Karen?
Because Karen and I have some specific things that we need to speak to this gentleman about, and we are the people that need to talk to him first. Once
Why
we
is
have
that?
our meeting, I don't think you need to know why. It's what it's going to be. And if you want to have a meeting with him, I will set up a meeting with you and him. I told you that already.
I
Karen
don't-
has some specific
I
things
would
that
like
she
the
would like to
opportunity
go.
to work with them directly and focus on
And
some of my
focus on what
questions.
we
and
need. You have
instead of-
your specific questions, we have our specific questions. I'm not going to interfere with both of them at the same time with somebody and get half of one thing right and half of the other thing right. I will be glad to set up a meeting with you and him.
I said, I clarified in this second attempt to join this meeting that I would observe only.
And I'm saying no,
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, Mike offered to set me up, or Karen did with me.
Separately, I would
You
like
have
my own
questions,
opportunity
you
to
have
talk
things
with
to
you.
ask.
No, I know.
We have things,
But you want,
we are one board.
correct.
And I'm.
And I'm the
one person.
mayor and she is the clerk. And you're a trustee,
And I have equal responsibility for fiscal management.
fine. You,
Right, the opportunities will be there. It's just that I don't think we need to all be in the same room at the same time because it really is overwhelming for me to be able to focus on my questions. I know everybody will have, and observers, everyone will have. Be compelled to ask questions and I'd rather have everybody have their own opportunity, including me.
as far as budget transfers, we have done them periodically throughout the year as necessary in the past. And we have always balanced our budget before the end of the year. We did it last year with Lori, and we will continue to be doing that on a basis as needed. As far as these reports, they will be electronically sent to you each month, if that's what you prefer. If we are going to have a discussion at our board meeting about something, but I do think that we are not going to sit here at a board meeting and ask questions that may or may not be able to be answered within the board meeting itself. So if you look at a report and you have a question, I'm suggesting that you should put it in writing, send it to Karen, any one of us, and we can get the answer to you outside of a board meeting as to what your question is and clarification is of something that you see in a report that you do not understand or that you have a question about. If we sit here at a board meeting and discuss something that we don't have the answer for, we're just sitting here spinning our wheels.
Wasn't talking about that at all, so.
Well, that's what I got from your conversation. So, and I tried to email you back and you refused to have a face-to-face meeting with me and you refused to provide me with different things. When I
For the
asked
record-
about, when you read that question about who is authorized to work for us, it doesn't say who is authorized or paid for within our budget to work for us. It's who is authorized to work for the Village of Fayetteville. Everyone that works for the Village of Fayetteville, as I told you, is authorized by this board to be hired. That's not how that reads. So you read something that you read from somebody else and you've interpreted it one way. I interpreted it perhaps a different way. That's why I asked for clarification today in an email.
In
Right.
terms of having a conversation, I responded to you that I would be happy to have a conversation. We have had great meetings, lengthy meetings in which we come to agreement. But what I expressed to you was that I become disappointed with what happens after those meetings when I think certain things are going to be followed up on, or that you will get back to me on things. So I asked that Karen come into our meetings so there would be clarification, or that I be allowed to record those sessions. And I did not get a response from you. I don't intend to do anything with them, but use them for my own records, like I use the live streams. The live streams are very beneficial to me. So that, I'll put it out there. I had once purchased a recording device, but didn't want to do that, and you and I talked about that. But at this point, in terms of follow-up on a number of issues, those things that languish are things that I want to be sure they go on something on the agenda called follow-up. If they get lost, because that is something that has been significant problem and, for a long time. So if you would like to meet and you will agree that, let me use a recording, because Karen doesn't have the time, recording device, I would appreciate that.
Mark, you have anything to say?
Well, on the financial side, we do in fact produce a report for the controller's office every year. The other part is the controller audits our village on an ongoing basis. And that's part of his normal sequence. And I do understand your concerns about what happened in the town of in the village of Manawis, forgive me.
Did you read the report?
Yeah, I did.
Hmm.
It was not very good. And the other part is the major thing that I saw was they missed, I think, 4 or 5 years of their annual report, which was one of the major problems that I saw associated with it. That is one of the key things. The other part is, as I viewed us moving to our accountant firm, a CPA, certified public accountants, because they're bringing the expertise here, and they really haven't even finished 1 month yet. That's the other problem in order to be able to produce reports, and I understand that too. They're bringing the expertise, professional expertise, that I believe we need and is beneficial for our community. Because that will help us understand our accounting process better and understand what we need to do in order to be more inclusive and transparent as well. Because there are certain things we cannot talk about in public, and you and I both know that. It's sort of minimal in many ways, but it mostly has to do with employees and things such as that. And we stay away from that because that's really what's going on. The other part is we have an employee listing, particularly when we're doing budget.
Mm-hmm.
And you're aware of that as well.
Of course.
So we have that every year when we're doing our budgets. And like Dan, I go back and I look at the other reports that we have here in order to understand where we are in our budgets, where I've blown a budget. And
Get those regularly?
yeah. I mean, not every month, I admit it, but I read them very, very closely because I'm looking to see where we are with our budget on most of these all the time.
Well, of course, I need to do that as well.
Yeah. And so that's the other piece that I'm doing all the time. The other part is I also review the abstracts, even though it's not my job.
Mhm.
Because I want to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where our business is, who we're giving the business to, number one, who we're responsible to. The other part is I'm always, it's like what Karen was talking about, our last abstract with the high costs we're dealing with what was going on. And I'm making sure that I understand when those high costs are and what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are contractual, as you're aware too. And that's the other piece. But I also look for, is there anything else where cash is going or something else that is not authorized? No, that's not true. I haven't seen that yet. I do know a few things have been caught where we're paying, they've asked us to pay sales tax where they shouldn't and things such as that. But usually it's a pretty good program in order to deal with it. And most people I talk to, they're not using a normal board meeting in order to discuss their accountancy. And I understand why also. But the point that I think that we've done here is we've actually gone and we've made very serious attempts to improve our accountancy. so that we can actually deal with our transparency better as well. And that's the other piece that I look at, and I understand some of your concerns. And I also understand that we're trying to do things and move along. And I also understand that there's a time element where we can actually start producing those reports, some of the reports, not necessarily all of them, but some of the reports from our accountant firm. And that's important because I can't produce them out of thin air or partial information, and you know that as well as I do, so it's not a big deal. And we basically are in the middle of transition. We've talked about, you and I have talked about our transition in our office from going from our clerk to our new clerk. And, you know, this is one of the transitions that go on. And the other part we've talked a little bit about is where we think that the accountancy firm is actually a really good thing in place in order to understand what's going on.
Yep.
That is part of our backbone, that independent look at our books, understanding it, is what I'm hoping they do is they pick out the little things before we find a big one. Because I'm assuming everything has been done well, because there are a lot of checks and balances that we do. But the other part is that when we start talking to an accounting firm, it's a little bit different because we're talking about our generally accepted accounting practices, GAAP, and what we deal with, and them as a CPA, they're also certified as a public accountant. And that designation actually comes through New York State, and they work for that with ongoing training and everything else. You and I were just talking a few minutes ago about the importance of ongoing training for folks. And that's really the other piece that goes along with it. The real piece is, I've taken accounting. I do not want to dig into it. It's not what excites me. I understand what you're saying. But for my everyday operation that I'm working with, I don't want to dig into it because there's a lot of other things that would take my time and I would not be able to do what I think are really beneficial for it. So I'm willing to look at it and say, I know that the state controller's office has a great deal to do with what's going on. And I have a great deal of confidence in them because they've done a great job across the board. And we have been audited here in the past, and they will audit us in the future. And the other part is I do think that a CPA firm working with us gives us that kind of backbone right in our own structure too.
So there's a lot that we're taking longer.
There's a lot of
tonight.
things still to talk about, don't get me wrong.
Have you read the?
Casey, would you turn around a little?
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Have you read the 2017 audit of the village of Fayetteville?
No, I have not.
Okay, I did. There's a little discussion there. I'm not saying, God, no, that we should be going over counting details in our meetings.
Right.
But we as board members have a legal responsibility to look at all those reports. And like Mike said, it's perfectly reasonable to deal with those things in email amongst each other when we have questions, but we have to have them first. And we did finish, Compo did finish the books in December. And my request to Mike was that we would do this at the second meeting of every month, which would allow for the books to have been closed, any questions to have been raised, and that we would have them on our agenda and available to the public. You didn't say what you believe in terms of whether they should be available to the public. Do you believe that they should be available to the public as well?
This is nothing more than a K1.
Excuse me?
K1 is when a public corporation that sells stocks has to produce their K1 and put it into the marketplace so everybody can take a look at their books.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I'm talking about the village. Do you?
It's the
think
same
the village should
documentation
have
you're talking
access to
about.
The documentation.
it's the same documentation, but full balance sheet, et cetera, the P and L and everything else that goes associated with it. And it's actually audited by their CPA. And that's where we are now, where our CPA firm can actually give us confidence in what we tell people. That's the other piece that goes with it. And so I view it as like, I agree with you on many of the things that we need to get to, but I think that we're on our way to do those kinds of things right. That's what I want to do.
But my question was, do you agree the public should be able to see these reports?
In some form, not necessarily
Monthly.
all the reports and not necessarily monthly.
Okay, so we can talk later about which things you think that the villages can see and which things you think the villages should not see.
And also the other thing is the frequency is a big question. Because I don't know one public agency out there that is actually producing their reports for the public on a monthly basis typically. Unless they have a specific kind of business.
I will hold myself.
Now, by the way, you might
standard.
make an argument this is a specific kind of business, by the way, and I agree with that.
I don't care about any other entity but this one.
Okay,
And so this is all I care about. And if I am wrong and I am reading the Office of the State Comptroller's documents wrong, I will definitely be open to being corrected. But I have studied this sufficiently now that I have taken this time tonight to say it has changed for me. And I needed to be honest with you. I appreciate the time to talk about this because I think this is our number one responsibility, fiscal management. So in order for me to get better at it, I need the village and the board to also get better at it. And Karen, you know, this training that you're gonna go to, I wouldn't recommend that as the best training, but you know, definitely make your decisions. And I would say that the one that I recommended in the email to the board, and it's a webinar and it's an hour, is a great way to start. They have, and that was, it's here in my piles, but the fiscal oversight responsibilities of the governing board. I just went to it for the second time, like I said, last week, and it's, you know, I have all kinds of notes, and I have my webinar notes, but that document is available on the website as is going into the budget cycle, understanding the budget process. And there are several other things related to accounting, but, you know, my major points have been made tonight, and, you know, I promise that I am going to do a better job of this. I promise
So
that
it's
to the
gonna be
villagers.
my recommendation, and we haven't gotten this far yet with that, when we do our abstracts in our meeting, that we, because you had requested this, that we mentioned that the abstracts, or the vouchers have been audited. I will make a recommendation that when we do the vouchers and the abstracts at our meeting, that we will take mention of the fact that we have received our reports and that we have reviewed them as trustees and mayor as a board.
That's not,
And that
that's
will-
not what that's not what
Right.
I'm asking
I
for, so
understand.
that's
Wait,
fine, so we can
but
talk about it when
We'll
Jay is here too.
discuss a little bit more when we're.
by the way, I will tell you one thing. I do believe that our financial oversight is one of our number one responsibilities.
I don't,
Don't.
know.
Okay.
I think, having a, safety, and, crash, things like that.
Okay.
Like,
That's what the residents want.
I gotta say something. Sorry. I've been sitting in this chair for almost 20 years now. Been all kinds of different people up there. In the last year, this board has done more things than any other board has done. Transparency, communication. I can go on and on and on about it. They support us unbelievably.
They as in we.
Yes. I understand you want for these informational things. I asked her the other day for some stuff. She had to diligently work to get it because it's new. I get that. Before you could go into Lori, print it off, boom, it's done. I get that. I understand that. We all have to be patient at this point. And that's my statement. You guys have done great. This board has done great. It's in a better place than it's ever been. And I think the community recognizes that. I'll say, be careful what you wish for when you want to post stuff, because not everybody just deciphers it the same way. And people sit home and just type away and put stuff out there and they don't even know what they're talking about. So, but kudos to you guys for having the conversations and being as open and transparent as you can. I get you want more, but it'll come. I guarantee it'll come. He's a man of his word. He will do what he can do. And as soon as she gets her feet underneath her, I guarantee you'll have more information. I guarantee that, but it takes time.
Thank you for that observation. I also am a person of my word, and I am concerned that that Karen does not necessarily have the supports that she needs right now. And that we should be doing something to help her with being able to coordinate remotely with Compo, with the accounting system. And that there are certain things that we may need to pay for during this transition that we are not considering, and unless we're talking about it, we will miss. Because number one, I do not want any of the responsibility for the failures of the board to fall on this clerk or the previous clerk. So we need to be sure that she has everything she needs, and that having read the manliest audit, you probably understand what I'm saying. So I've talked to Karen about this too. I want her to have everything she needs. And we don't necessarily have the pieces yet. So that's why it's partially talking about this. I am patient. Some of these things I've been asking for since April of 2024. And but I could not stop, not seize this moment.
Yep.
Because we have, Lori told us in June she was leaving. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Gonna wait. It just got to the point where I can't wait any longer. This is the moment for us to do this with this transition to Pumpo. And for us to take a comprehensive look at our fiscal management and see where we can make adjustments as needed. I had only one meeting with you in your office, and you had gigantic computer screens up there, and I could see your projections out years ahead in terms of everything that you need for that department. And even just with that one glance, I knew that I never had to worry about the financial management of our biggest department.
Planner.
Yeah, and you're great at it. And, and in that sense, I remember saying to Lori, don't have to worry about how complicated an asset inventory is. The chief can push a couple buttons and get that to you, and get that to you. All right, maybe not, maybe it's more than a
Working on
couple. So anyway, that's the kind of thing we need across the board, is what you do.
Thank you. Give you some insight about over there. That's a totally different organization than this. That clerk was absent. The clerk treasurer was absent and unorganized and not thrown her under the bus, but I know that. I worked over there and it was a disaster. And so I can tell you that's why things were bad. Our office staff is on top of it. Compared to that, when I was over there, it was night and day. And I wouldn't put any credence in what happened over there. I think that their mayor was and their clerks totally different than what we have. So
And I had a tremendous relationship with Lori, and I hope Karen, and it is still our responsibility what a clerk treasurer does or does not do. So I don't want to ever have that I don't want to see any of our people ever put under the bus, push under the bus.
and just so you know, the audit company, they're on top of it. They got me for 2 credit card receipts.
That's right. every other group.
Oh,
No, I
that's great.
appreciate
So-
everybody's comments and understanding and patience, and I certainly am grateful that you understand that there's a transition involved, that you're supportive about it, and recognize that if I feel that there's something more needed or missing, whether it's a different service, I will come forward and let you know. The IT has gotten me squared away, so
Okay.
just so you know, literally today,
Okay,
accounting will have access. That's why some of these pieces, for whatever reason, it took a couple weeks to get them all lined up, but I think we're in the right path. And going forward, I'm hoping by the end of that within the next 2 weeks, we'll have a better handle on things.
we have tremendous confidence in you.
I know you do.
We want you to,
Sometimes
and we want you to
just,
succeed.
I will do my best.
So I'd just like to make a comment that I don't disagree with your requests. I don't disagree with your position. I feel that we all in our own way feel exactly the same way as you, with or without expressing it the same way as you have, because I've served on this board a long time and watched things happen and financially. Mark has, Dan certainly longer than me. And so I don't disagree with what we're talking about. The approach and the way around it and what we need to do, we have to work on a little bit, I feel, to make it
Yep.
the best. And to make it not only understandable for our board, but for the public. Nobody's trying to hide anything. Nobody's trying to be not transparent. But if you go to surrounding communities, I don't believe you see all these reports on their website. I don't believe you see them discussing it. I'm not saying that we have to follow everything somebody else did, but I don't think, as the chief just said, that we are going down the same path as somebody that did something not so appropriate, perhaps. So I think there's room to grow and to work on this and to make it all work out. When Pompo came in to balance our books for December, it took her at least 3 days, correct? To kind of get in here and to understand. So yes, they did balance our books for December, but it was not an easy task, I would say, because I wasn't watching her to understand what she was looking at and how she was looking at it and what it was. It's a learning curve for them. It's a learning curve for Karen. And it's a learning curve for us as to how that is going to work out. Some of these reports that I have and that I do not share do not quite, I need some answers about them from the people that are doing our work before I'm willing to share them. And that's why you didn't receive them before the meeting tonight and why I have those copies, which I got today from Karen, not before this. And as Karen just mentioned, we just got the remote accessibility for our accountants today. So it's not something that I could, from the end of last week, reach out to the accountants and ask them to provide me with the questions and the answers. So the end of that, was it last week or this week? No, today's on Monday, so it had to be Friday. We contacted Mr. Pompo and set up an appointment, because Karen has some specific questions. I have some specific questions, and we're going to set up that. I did talk to him about your concerns and ask him some questions about those things that we talked about. And he said he would be glad to discuss things with you, and so I will set that up. But initially, this is 3 weeks into it, really, since they've actually been hired by us. I think Karen needs the conversation with them, and I would like to have a few questions answered myself first. And then we can, once we get on board with a couple more things, certainly I want you to be able to meet with him and to ask your questions and to look at things further. And perhaps once you actually get these reports, which you would have, might have more significant questions for him than not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know. Well, you're not an accountant. You said it. I'm not an accountant. I said it.
I
Go
would
through.
like to change my request. It is not necessary for me to meet one-on-one, but maybe he could meet with us as a board in some way. If it's not a board meeting, maybe as a workshop, so we all hear the same thing, and have the same understanding. That kind of collective, this is what I'm asking for in terms of a collective sense of the information, the language, what we can expect. I see you shaking your head, so
I am, because I also know that we basically want him to be involved at the beginning in our budget process as well.
Yeah.
And so that is the vital piece that goes along with it, because what we have in the books actually guides us. I mean, particularly when we start looking at our expenditure reports versus where our budgets are and everything else, that's actually a guide for us. And I tell people that all the time. I look at that, I understand where we are. I look at and see what's left over. I'm looking to understand, do we have seasonality in some of these
yes.
deals? Okay. That's important for me to understand. And it's important for me to understand as a board member. Because excuse me, we know Tyler's going to use salt during the winter. Okay. And in the months of August, he's not going to use it, but we may stockpile it.
Right.
Okay. If he can get a good price. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for.
Well, we can have reports that show, as we're doing our budget preparation, that show us when we expect revenue to come in, when we expect expenditures.
Yeah, that's actually pretty
In
simple.
one, yeah, they're very, it's a little one-page thing that helps us to monitor.
Yeah.
That I would appreciate, because I have it in my head, but there's a lot of things in terms of the finances now that I need to be able to look back over, and I don't want it in my head about when this happens and when that happens. I
Yeah.
want it on paper.
Yeah, a lot of that is really pretty simple, and it's not, you don't need a report, if you know what I'm saying. But it really is a matter, we can talk about
The
it.
examples I saw looked very attractive.
Yeah.
And I think, we're of a certain age, and the work that we do is also setting up future boards to prosper.
Correct.
And for this village to have an excellent reputation across the board, and for them to be able to come in. My onboarding was bumpy. I think about, what could be done differently, and partially I'm motivated to ensure that the person who comes before me or before any of us, because any of us could be gone tomorrow, could be able to come in and have a better onboarding experience so that we can get up to speed on more things more quickly.
I think onboarding in any board like this is difficult anyway, because you have expectations that might necessarily not be real. And there's other expectations of you you had no idea about. You know, and I'm gonna say that. And I'm familiar with that very well.
Okay, so this will be an ongoing discussion and I will get some more information and I will get some reports out to everyone and I will set up a time perhaps.
By the way, I do think a
that we
workshop is
can-
perfect for that, and that sort of like relates to our budget workshop.
One of our questions, I want to see
Right.
what his availability is and
And
Yeah.
cost,
we can back,
and cost.
right, some of it I might be included, but some of it may not, and that's.
Right, we wanna make
We wanna
see where-
maximize when we have them with us.
Correct, because we want to utilize our dollar expenditure wisely as well.
And be concise with our questions and answer, you know, like to
Correct.
make sure that we don't waste his time or our time. or
'Cause his time's
whatever. And I'm
valuable
not
and
saying that
he's-
either of it is a waste of time in the sense of what it might have
Right.
just sounded like, but just to be the most productive of time.
And it's like we're using an attorney, Ted, where they book us for everything they do, okay?
Wow.
Okay, so let's keep going because it's a long time here. Asset inventory. So the asset inventory, we do have an inventory of our assets. We do not have it in this form of these sheets, nor in the form of perhaps an official inventory, but we do have an inventory of what we have. So I am meeting with the department heads this week and I will discuss this further with them. An asset inventory of this nature is not required by law. I'm not saying it's not a good idea to have, but I'm just going to talk to the department heads and we will be working on compiling something in the way of an asset inventory of our major types of things that we own. And that's where my questions were not necessarily how far back we should go, but my question is to what detail do we go? So obviously, the fire department has trucks. They also have equipment. They also have other things. We may or may not be too onerous to list every piece of equipment that they have outside of the major types of equipment that they have. So that's why I want to talk to the department heads and look into this a little bit further. It's something that would be helpful perhaps to the village and to future boards, but it is not necessarily a requirement by law that we have it. That's what I've been told anyway. So I'm not pushing this aside. I'm going to pursue it further and come back with more information about it.
In Casey's defense and the chief's defense, I also know, having looked at the chief's capital budget progress and working with DPW to do a similar kind of activity, because that's really important for us, because that actually helps us manage our budgets better, et cetera.
Oh,
And
so
you and I both know that, chief.
So we've been doing, when we got the new trucks, we barcoded inventory. It's all in our daily checks.
Right,
So
you have some of this already. I'm sure
our
the DPW had some of
our
it already. It's not
trucks-
going to be impossible to bring this forward into a report.
The building's the problem.
Right.
With all the building assets, I would say. You probably need to put a dollar amount on it. Because like, a great example for me would be all my office furniture. With the exception of my office, that is all 15 years old. Is there value in that? I think their life expectancy's probably pretty close to the end of that. Not that we're gonna replace it or saying it's bad, but when you do an inventory, I don't necessarily know if you have to put that on there because of a life expectancy value or something like that.
As opposed to when we replace it in another 2 years,
Yeah.
adding it at that.
Like
time.
mine, I would put my office furniture on there because that's only a couple years old.
Right.
So something like that's kind of get some
That's what I
clarification.
kind of talk to the department heads about,
Yeah.
talk to the board a little bit further about, and get some clarifications as to just what this involves. Do we all know that if we walk in the village clerk's office, there's 3 computers there because Karen works at one, Patty works at one, and Gwen works at one. We know we have 3 computers, there might be one in back. So do we, I mean, how their age and their things like that would be nice to know, because when you want to replace them, it's easier to know what age something is. This type of furniture, it exists, so it could be inventoried, but it doesn't have to, maybe there is no value associated with certain parts of our inventory, because that is kind of like more inconsequential than other types of things. This has a life expectancy of 30 years or whatever. So, I mean, it's gonna,
As I explained to people, when you're doing inventory, how do you assess the age? And also the value?
yeah,
There are
There's two
numerous ways in order to assess value of inventory.
There's 2 different things. They're current or replaced.
Right. Because we don't have depreciation as one of the tools we use actually in a nonprofit.
As far as the building goes, we have an insurance policy on the building.
Yep.
And therefore, the insurance policy automatically includes
Fixture.
other things in the building. So in other words, just like your house insurance, when you get it, they do a personal property, they do a thing like that. So that stuff is readily available through that.
Yeah, but if I were to look at you and say, Paul, I need to know the value of your PPE that right now and what's going on, you would know this right now.
Yep, but
Because it became very important.
how many sets I have and
Exactly. But
Well, the
you understand what
value
I'm
is-
saying?
Yep.
And that's not what we see everywhere.
plus the, when I sat with the insurance company to review our policy for the vehicles. And we put the rescue truck on there. And he says, well, what's your replacement? I said, it's 1.7 million. And he goes, really? And I go, well, that's outfitted and everything. I said, I just paid $19,000 for it. He goes, you're not gonna wreck that, are you?
No, I can't afford to replace it. That's the point.
I said, I didn't even pay 19,000, the association did, so.
Yes,
you
I know.
He's like, 1.7, I'm like, yeah, ladder truck's 2.2 now, so.
When Mike asked me, well, how far do you want to go? And I was like, obviously, I don't want to go to pencils, you know? He said.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, like, you know, I mean, you think of an
You know?
inventory, you know, I sit at Speedway and have coffee every morning. And they come in to do an inventory, and as they start walking through a store, which would drive me crazy if I was trying to do the inventory, they tag everything. So as they look at something and count something, they put a tag on it. So the next guy or woman coming through doesn't recount that particular item. And they count every roll of Tootsie Rolls in the bin or something or whatever. I'm just trying to like kind of make this concise so that we come to like terms of what it is that we're really looking to inventory and not, you know, reams of paper. Obviously, we want to inventory those even as a remote thought, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there are certain things like this furniture. Yes, it could be on an inventory, but we're not going to assign a value to it probably, or if we do, it'll be an arbitrary value or something like that, or life expectancy or different things. So this will be something that I'm going to ask the department heads.
Do you
when we
make a
meet.
copy of that? 'Cause this is mine.
Oh, yeah, I will. I
Give it
will.
to everybody, but
I'll print my sheet off for.
Yeah, I mean, a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
this
you can
stuff we
see it.
already have in
Yep.
place. It's just a matter of organizing it in one place, I believe. And whether it's on sheets like this or a different format, it just has to be something that we can work with and adapt to, change as things go in and out of the inventory.
That was our goal to be able to hit print and have one for the first of the year, because I know that we're supposed to hand in an inventory sheet January of every year. I've never handed one in my life.
Yeah.
But I know we're supposed to.
But you know, we have it.
thank you, chief.
If we need it. Okay.
Did work.
For tonight.
No,
I suggested to Mike that he consult with Compo about this and, you know, if necessary, the comptroller's office for guidance on some of these questions. I'm not an expert. That's why we need to tap into those more.
Parks 6B, they would like to purchase a map for $90 that shows the different parks, right, Karen?
Yeah, they had requested and ordered one in the past, and they're just looking to have a second one since they'll be working with the students up at ESF. And along with that request to have permission to purchase another map, they just want to be sure the board is aware and agreeable with them reaching out to the media, like Jason Klaber with the Eagle. You know, to promote what they're doing.
explain
and
about
to have them
I already talked to Mark about this stuff.
to accompany him on tours and things like that.
Yeah,
So
okay.
good.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure everyone's okay with that.
Okay,
And I'll
so
let them know.
motion to
I'll
spend
so moved.
money.
Second,
Second, all in favor?
aye.
Thank you.
Do it 90.
$90.
Yes.
6C, we have the tree commission. I'm thinking for you. Well, I have to
It's
do it again.
laminated, that's why.
So we have a vacancy on the tree commission, and trustee Casey has approached resident Daniel Roach, who lives on Brookley Drive, to be a part of that commission. He has readily agreed, I believe, from your email.
Dude, yes.
And so I would appoint him as a associate member for this current
For this year.
year. So
So
till
they're
December
Until the end of December.
31st coming up. Motion, I think
I'll
we
move.
need- still
I
have
know
to do
you
it here.
Pretty well.
Yeah, your neighbors.
neighbors, and he's also on one of my committees.
Yeah, oh, that was one of the things that was really cool about Dan was, I guess, in your committee, in that it would be the
Climate
climate,
action.
Yeah.
Yes,
that there had been some discussion about wanting to have connections with the tree commission, so now we're cross-pollinated.
it's an
That's
act.
great.
It really is. It is an
You like
act.
that
I'd
cross-pollinated?
like to.
Careful.
Do you second the?
2 seconds.
Second. yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
I,
Okay. IMA agreements. So we already did the safety inspector when we were at the fire department. And now we have the deer committee. Intermunicipal agreement with the deer
Between
management.
us and the town of Manlius in conjunction with the.
I actually will
with
make
the
that motion
United States
pending legal
Department-
review.
United States Department of Agriculture for our deer program.
And did you look this over, Ted, or not yet?
Ted's
Specifically?
gonna look at it, same one as last.
I'll give key to Borough.
You got
Okay.
it?
All right, so,
Okay.
Yeah, it's a.
Because I was concerned because I thought there might have been some small changes in the document versus previous
I
document.
didn't see anything,
Okay, good.
but I mean, if you saw.
That was what is
Let me
alluded
know.
to me by the town when I was,
Okay,
Just
because
follow.
I was gonna have.
I didn't see it.
I'll wait till tomorrow.
okay.
No, the document.
Yeah.
okay,
Good.
so moved and second.
Wait, oh, yes.
Moved and seconded, we
Yes.
can discuss it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who moved it?
You moved it
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Mark
excellent.
second.
Thank you.
Okay,
Just
discussion.
Ted. Bullet number 7, there's one word, using that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
English major, journalism minor, editor, can't help.
Like,
Thing
yeah,
these things.
He's an English professor.
Yes, Lemoyne.
That's gotta be challenging sometimes.
Okay, all in favor?
Please, your therapy.
Okay. Any trustee updates?
We got that one.
I do.
Do we have a summary report on the deer project for 2025? On the website, we had 2024. But not 2025, and the time period is January 1 to April 1.
Have to see if I have it and just didn't get it linked.
Okay. There was some recommendations in there too, in the 2024, to add additional private properties to increase coverage in light of the large number of deer that were observed. Did we increase properties, Dan?
We didn't have the opportunity.
Okay. This year?
We used to have more properties, but then they came back and said we had to be a certain distance from residences and things,
Okay.
and that cut out some of our village properties, so that kind of pushed things. That's why we have this agreement with the town, which we didn't have initially
Okay.
when we started this deer culling
Okay.
program. Because there's a lot more areas of the town that are available because of the distances between residences and whatever, and do the culling
more
and things.
rural,
So,
yeah.
so they're always looking for more locations, but I don't know that we've expanded them this year.
It's difficult to fit them in the village, actually.
And the people would have to sign off that they're okay with them on their property doing this, so
Yeah.
it's not just a governmental thing that we can come
Right.
on property
I
and
think
do
that's
it
how we lost
without,
them all. They
without
No longer
doing that.
support.
and that was a town property. But adjacent to the village.
One of the other recommendations that was that both the village and the town track damages. Do we track anything? They had deer vehicle collisions, number of phone calls received, number of deer carcasses. That they said that it was important for them in assessing the overall success of the program.
We get those reports like from the
We get
police or whatever.
Okay,
They
We can get
that we
reports
can
in.
provide,
The
we
police
provide to
that we
DEC.
provide
Police
to
will
them.
give us reports.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Do we vote?
You, on the deer
Yeah.
agreement, you voted.
Okay.
didn't you?
No, that, I don't know if we did or not, but all in favor?
Dan,
aye.
Okay. Just in case we didn't, we have now. Okay, trustee updates. Dan, you got anything?
Yeah, I just, I'm still waiting for the board to tell me which direction to go on. Can we put an advertisement maybe on the website that, we're looking for a director?
Well, can we get the information from the rec committee, how much money they have and what that money, where that money is going? And can they tell us if they can give it to the village? They're a nonprofit corporation. I'm not sure if, Ted, if you would know the answer, if they can give that money, if they dissolve that nonprofit corporation to the village of Fayetteville or not? And can we look into that?
Yeah.
If
If we took, you mean if the village actually took it over? If
Well,
they
if
take
you-
it over, the committee's gone. The committee's gone.
And the
we take-
What
nonprofit
happens
is
to their
gone,
And the
account?
nonprofit's gone,
right,
and
I wanna know what happens to that money, if there is.
the
any
money would come back to the village.
It's not the village's money, it's their money currently.
I'm sure the board would,
Right, and I can't.
No, I know, I just
And as
wanna
a
make
village,
sure
I
that.
can't raise funds in order to
I'm
support
sure
that
the
either.
board would vote for it to come back.
Right.
But
Well, they
that
gave us
doesn't
their
mean
fundraising
anything.
programs, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's, it's a year-to-year account, technically.
Right, I understand that, but if we're gonna take it over as a
Well,
village board, then we have to.
Okay,
fund it.
let's say we're not gonna take it over. Let's see if we can get a director under the current plan right now.
Then that's up to them to put the
You don't need
advertisement
us.
out or whatever.
Okay,
We
so
can,
We
put-
can't,
we could put the advertisement on our website. don't
that's what
see
I
a
meant. There you
problem.
go. Thank you.
If the board is going to be hiring the person, we could put an
No.
ad on our,
The-
not our board. If the rec board is going to be
Right.
hiring someone to take over for Michelle, I don't see a problem that we wouldn't be able to put a advertisement on our website for that position. It's not, that's what you're asking, isn't it?
I want it on there, yeah.
I'm
If it's
trying
up to them
to explain
promote
it. We're,
And provide the information
Right,
and we
thank you.
can help share it.
That's
is
all
what
I-
it
right,
comes
we
down
can
to.
share it on our
Okay,
website,
fine.
right?
Could we
Cool.
clarify that it is not a village, that it is a separate not-for-profit?
It is a separate one.
Yeah,
It is a
no, I
separate
mean,
one.
in the ad,
Oh,
Yeah,
so that they don't think it's a village,
It's like-
a village position.
It's like the act of
that's why I
a,
wanted to
Sorry.
come from them.
Yes, I understand that.
same thing.
I understand that. So I'm totally
Changes that are.
an ad for the
Correct.
not-for-profit.
so the other thing that the board should take into consideration is if the rec department does not hire a new director on their own, then we have a summer program that we have provided to our residents at Fayette for quite a number of years. I've had a conversation with the town supervisor and he claims, and this would have to go through his board because he can't make this decision on his own. But he tells me that he would be willing to enter into a year-by-year intermunicipal agreement with the rec department to provide a program in Fayetteville itself. So if the rec committee wants to hire someone and put this ad out and see what they get, that's fine. But at some point, we need to, if we want to continue a program at Fayette, we need to take steps to put that in place. If there isn't going to be a rec director. And that doesn't eliminate them to continue to find a rec director for the future. It may just mean for 1 year, we go to the town and have that rec department run our program.
So I'm a village resident and I have a town rec department. Why does my village have to pay for the rec department? Why can't the town? Perhaps for this year, we provide the funds that we would have spent in the rec department. Provide that to the town, but that they take on that financial responsibility, providing equal access to the village residents.
The same reason we put funds into the, what used to be called the senior center.
But no, that's a private not-for-profit. And so, Mike has got the distinction here between there's the not-for-profit can take care of it, or we can enter an agreement with the town. I would talk to the town about, taking that over after we provide bridging
The
funds.
town said that they would take it over without providing any funds
The
from
town,
us. That was the initial conversation. I'm not saying that's the end of the conversation.
Oh,
The initial conversation was that they would absorb it into their budget.
so why would we have to have a year-to-year agreement then? Why can't we have one agreement that is forever?
Because we may want to,
Revisit.
somehow, we may want to revisit it. as
The
a
town-
village.
the town doesn't provide all the things that the village of Fayetteville Recreation provides. We just had a tryouts, or not tryouts, we had a drama auditions, tryouts, whatever you call them. Or a play to be put on during winter break. 47 kids showed up. That's a lot of kids. So if you want to just eliminate that, the town will eliminate it.
Or could offer it. That's
They
the
don't do
option.
it.
They don't do it currently, but they,
Doesn't
if
mean it's
we,
not something that's gonna be.
if we
revisited.
ask for something like that, maybe they would do it.
Well, yeah. That's just another thing. We gave away all the other things.
We're not giving anything away because we don't have rec right now. The village of Fayetteville does not have a rec department. We are not giving away the rec department. The rec committee is their own committee and is their own entity outside of the village of Fayetteville. We support them and we help them in any way possible that we can. We're not giving anything away. We're making, all I'm suggesting is if they don't find someone to replace the current director, we may not have a summer program at Fayette unless we look to something different. So ask them to put the ad together, ask them to hire somebody and keep things going just the way it's going. That's one option. If that doesn't happen, my opinion is that we look perhaps to the town, and we have to agree to this as a board, to enter into an agreement for them to run that at least for a year till we see where all of this shakes out. And we're not obligated, we're not just saying, you're taking over our rec, we're never going to go back into that either as a village or as a committee, but it's already almost February. And I don't know the parameters or the timeframes of when everything has to be done and in place for a summer program to happen. So I don't want to lose the ability for village residents. I don't think anybody here wants to lose that opportunity for village residents to go to Fayette for recreation as opposed to another place within the town that already exists.
I agree.
That's my only opinion. That's what I'm trying to say. But I don't know, we've talked about the village taking it on. Now we're talking about the rec committee staying in place and that non-for-profit staying viable. Even if that means that we fund money to them like we do the senior center or Manly's Historical or the Gage Foundation. Nobody's questioning those types of things. I just don't want to lose the opportunity for the Fayetteville residents to go to something more local that the kids can either walk to or like everybody else, their parents drive, so whatever, but.
We don't want to lose a service that our community has come to expect and appreciate. So however we can make that happen. Important. I'm glad you had the conversation with the town. Thank you.
It's just an option. We're not,
Yeah.
I didn't commit,
I know,
I'm not
I know.
committing to anything till we.
I understand exactly where we are.
That's all. So ask them to put an ad together. And share it on our website, on our social media. And they can promote it wherever they have their promotional things going. And we'll see what happens, but I would think that we need to make a decision sooner than later about what way we
Yeah,
want
we
to
gotta
go
make
with
one.
this or whatever.
We have to make one during
That's all.
during
During
the month of-
February or whatever, right?
month of February.
Anything else?
You mean in terms of trustee?
Well, that was.
Well, no, just Dan, I'm
No.
trying to go. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Short, tree commission meeting will be having its first meeting of the year tomorrow. And I'm meeting with Gage on Thursday, but one of the things that I think is really important for our village is that this will be the celebration of Matilda's 200th birthday. And they will be celebrating year round with a number of programs. And we don't get to see a lot of what they do, but I would like the villagers to know that there's a lot of programming that happens there that you only really find out about if you go to the website. So if we could add that into our minutes, what the website is, just because I was checking it out, I was like, oh my gosh, they have like 12 programs set up.
And like,
And
no,
they-
I
and they
get
work
their
with-
emails and stuff
Yeah,
too, or
yeah.
whatever, which helps.
The
that
Engage
keeps you-
newsletter.
Yeah, it keeps you
The
informed.
Engage
about what's
newsletter is
going on.
probably what we should promote, because it has all the programs going on all the time. And that's gonna be it.
Well, I concur about the Matilda Gage House, because it's actually become, I've worked doing things at the Matilda Gage House for almost 30 years with different things off and on. So it's like one of those things that's always there. And that's the other part, that's part of our community. Like all things, we want our community to be open to everybody, and Matilda Gage is actually a personification of that. In many
Yeah.
ways, and what we want is our community is in fact open. And we welcome everybody in our community. And that's, from my point of view, a big deal.
Mhm.
And in today's time, that's even more so.
So.
Thank you.
Anything?
That's it.
Ted, Karen, anything more? Anybody in the audience? I did drive by your house, but of course now we've got winter and snow. I see you got a lot of trees across the front of your house now.
Yeah, that was in response to what was decided here years ago,
Uh-huh.
because otherwise I was just looking at a line of cars.
Right.
Yeah,
I think when the
That was
weather gets
really-
better, we can look at it a little harder.
that was a
See?
really expensive thing to do, but otherwise I was just looking at cars all the time. I honestly, there were a few ideas, mentioned last time. I think it's a simple solution. I don't think we have to go to the state and ask them to build a parking lot at the end of the road. Right, because that was one of the ideas. Am I right about that? Was that idea?
We
floated?
talked about it, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we
I
talked
just-
about it before too.
Right, exactly. My only thought was, I mean. We talk a lot about the character of the community, and I just thought it would, the neighborhood down there would look a lot better. If it wasn't just a series of cars parked in a row. I think a simple solution would be to encourage people to maybe park between houses and not directly in front of any houses. And in my head, I mean, I know the layout of the houses, I can see 6 spots easily. That would be easy for people to park between houses, and it wouldn't violate, I don't know, I don't think it would impose much on anybody, would it be shared responsibility? I understand why why the parking was changed, because they did the improvements to the trail and they just flocked to the end road. They're parking on both sides, they were digging up the lawn. But I just think there's a way to sort of spread it out. And I know it's a public road, people can park anywhere they want, I totally get that. I talk to the people that they go there, they're very nice people, I mean, they're health minded, a lot of families. I just think if we encourage them to kind of park between houses and not be end to end, I don't think it would be a big ask, and I think little by little, it's not gonna be perfect, but little by little. I think we could just change it so it's not just 4 or 5 cars in a row anywhere.
So I'd like to come when it's better weather to like look at that area with you so that you can, I mean, I drove by and saw obviously I know where your house is because I've looked at it before when we've talked about this. I'd like to come when it's a little better weather and get a better idea about your ideas and things. And I do need to reach out to Green Lakes, the gentleman that is in charge of that in the parks and things, and talk to him a little bit more about that idea of either a parking space somehow. Maybe it's a combination of things, so I'm gonna reach out to him and too, but I haven't really been to see you yet because I want to see kind of where your thoughts are. So if we get a little break in the weather, I will stop by if that's okay. And we'll take
I'll
a-
give you my number, so it's just easy.
I've been there.
Yeah, give me your number so that.
I've been there numerous times. I can't understand your address is shady.
This mailbox is unshady,
Yeah,
but it's house.
But your
space,
house
Brookside.
space is Brookside.
Well, essentially, anybody that lives on a corner has 2 fronts,
Okay,
right?
okay.
That's the way it's
Well,
legally.
That's the way the
So-
codes are, yeah.
when you showed me the picture of the 4 or 5 cars that were all there together,
Yeah,
what street was that on?
that's Brookside. And that winds from the mouth on
Okay,
one side,
alright,
and it
that's-
goes all the way around.
That's because I had a couple. Things that I could think of as far as it went for parking on Shady, but. That I wasn't really sure.
Okay,
Okay, now I know. Okay, now I'll have to do it.
So after the meeting, if you'll give me your number, I'll
Yeah.
give you a call when it's the next
131.
day. I come.
okay.
I know his house number and I don't have his phone number.
I just think just encouraging them, I think it would go a long way. And I don't think I think it'd be the least expensive of all the ways to do it.
Mhm.
Because to create a whole parking lot at the end of that road.
Well, that would be the state that would do it, not the
Right,
village,
no,
but I
I'm
mean,
just saying, that's way
Right.
more expensive than anything what I'm thinking of would be way less expensive.
okay. Right,
Thank
I'll
you.
be in touch with you, so.
And I do also, as the fire chief said, I appreciate the open discussion and. And I do think that it's very different than I've noticed in the past. I really appreciate how you guys discuss with each other.
Thank you. I try to include everybody the best that I can, and
Yes.
sometimes that works well, sometimes maybe not so well.
Or we're doing.
But
And
we're-
family, you're gonna have conflicts.
We
So
are,
it's just-
we are trying,
Yeah.
and sometimes trying each other.
Sometimes in different ways, yeah.
But- Play on words a little bit, but we do mean well, even if we
We
don't.
are definitely trying.
Oh, we are. Even if it doesn't always seem that way.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Do you have anything else?
Like a whole.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I just want to make sure that things are right before we
Yep.
portray something that I don't want people seeing the wrong.
We're gonna
That-
move in the right direction.
We're all in agreement. We all talk the same talk, just different ways.
For words, that's where common.
So we do have a executive session to include the clerk and the attorney.
Move to executive session.
Second that.
Favor?
Aye.
It will not take long. There will be no action after the